Hello children, how are you all? Children, today we will learn about the classification of resources. First of all, I tell you that what this classification means. Classification means systematic arrangements of anything in groups according to the established criteria. Children, in my previous video, I tell you about many types of resources. Now, in this video, you will understand that how all the resources have been classified under certain criteria. There are basically 4 criteria under which all the resources have been classified. Children, to remember this, I have made a small flow chart for you all. So look at the chart carefully. You will understand how the classification has been done. The first is on the basis of origin. Under this, there are 2 groups, which is biotic and abiotic. Now let's talk about the second category, which is on the basis of exhaustibility. Under this, again, there are 2 groups, which is renewable and non-renewable resources. Now let's talk about the third category, which is on the basis of ownership. Under this, there are 4 groups. The one which is individual resources, second, community resources, third, national resources, fourth is international resources. Now, the fourth group is on the basis of status of development. Under this, again, there are 4 types. The one which is potential resources, second, developed resources, third, stock, and the fourth, which is reserves. So children, in this video, I am going to explain you all the resources one by one. So children, the first kind of resources is biotic resources. Biotic resources are obtained from biosphere. All the living organisms in our environment are called biotic resources. These resources are available in that zone of the earth that supports life. The very good example of biotic resource is human beings. There are many more examples of biotic resources like flora and fauna, fisheries, microorganisms, bacteria, all the livestock. These are the examples of biotic resources. Children, just remember that these resources are capable of reproduction. Okay? Now let's talk about the another type of resources, which is abiotic resources. Abiotic resources are those resources which are composed of non-living things. For example, rocks, metals, water, sunlight, air. These are all the abiotic resources. Okay? Children, these resources are not dependent on biotic resources for their growth and survival. But if we talk about the biotic resources, then in that case, these biotic resources are completely dependent on abiotic resources for their growth and survival. These abiotic resources originates from the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and the atmosphere. Okay, children? Now let's talk about the another category of resources, which is exhaustibility. On the basis of exhaustibility, there are again 2 types of resources. The one is renewable resources. Renewable resources are those resources which can be renewed and reproduced by physical, chemical, or mechanical processes. Okay? The very good example of such kind of resources can be wood. Children, wood we get it from trees, remember? So when these trees are cut down, they can regrow from seeds and sprouts. Okay, so wood, trees, these are all the examples of renewable resources, because these resources can grow again or never run out. Let's take the another example of renewable resources is animals. When the baby animals are born and grown up, they replace the older animals that die. So similarly, these resources means food, trees, animals, they can be reproduced. But there are some more resources which can not be reproduced but can be renewed. The examples of such renewable resources are air and water, sun and wind energy, because they do not regrow. They are always being renewed. They move in cycles. They go from one place to another and often comes back where they started again and again. So children, just remember, renewable resources means never-ending resources. Now let's talk about the very important example, which is nutrients. Nutrients is also an example of renewable resources. These resources, like if I talk about the nutrients, are the chemicals that all the living things need. They are the renewable natural resources. How? Because they move round and round in cycles and never run out. How? Let's see an example. If I talk about the animal cow. When cow eats a plant, it takes in nutrients, right? Then these nutrients are used in the animal's body. Here in this case, it is a cow. When this cow gives us the waste material, means cow dung, then it gets returned back to the soil. And when this animal dies, then also the nutrients will return to the soil as well. So in this manner, plants take up all the nutrients in the soil and continue the cycle. Okay, so these are the examples, children, which you can write under the renewable resources. Now remember just one thing, that these resources, which are renewable resources, they can be reproduced or renewed during a person's lifespan. They don't need a very, very long time to regrow or to be renewed. Okay, it can be regrow or replaced within a person's lifespan. Okay, now these resources again has been further divided into two groups, which is continuous or flow. Means continuous renewable resources, and the another one is flow renewable resources. Now let's talk about the continuous renewable resources. It is something that will never run out or stop. Those resources will virtually always exist. If I talk about the example, then you can write one example. A very good example here is the wind. All the windmills are a very reliable resource, continuous renewable resource, because these windmills is located near the mountains, near the sea, where you will find there is always the flow of wind. Okay, that's why we can write the examples of those resources which are continuous in nature, which you are getting all the time. Okay, now some resources are under the category of flow renewable resources, like running water, tides, gas, sunlight, because it does not remain in one location and moves about because of natural actions in the physical environment. So children, these flow renewable resources must be used as when and where they occur. Now let's talk about the another kind of resources, which is non-renewable resources. Non-renewable resources means those resources which occur over a very long geological time. The examples of such resources are minerals and fossil fuels. These resources take millions of years in their formation. You can also write some more examples of non-renewable resources like all the oil, gas, natural gas, right? That comes under the category of fossil fuels. These resources cannot be recycled and they get exhausted with their use. Still, people are trying hard to find new fuels that are clean and will provide the power we need. Like wind, solar and hydrogen power are the renewable resources that offer hope for the future. So children, that's why it is commonly said that we must protect our natural resources from the pollution. Okay? Now we will talk about the third category under which all the resources have been classified, which is on the basis of ownership. Okay? So very first is individual resources. Those resources which are owned privately by the individuals. People in both the places where it is a village or a town, they have such ownership. Means they have such resources, means individual resources. Like if we talk about villages, then there are many people with land ownership. Farmers also own land which is allocated to them by the government against the payment of revenue. And if we talk about the people who lives in town, they also own many plots, houses and other properties like plantation, pasture lands, ponds, water in wells are some of the examples of resources ownership by the individuals. Okay? Now, what you can do, children, you can make a list of resources owned by your household. This is one activity which is a very interesting activity. After listening my this video, just think about all the resources which are owned by your household. Okay? Now let's talk about the second resources, which is community owned resources. The name itself tells about what kind of resources comes under this group. Means those resources which are accessible to all the members of the community. The examples if I talk about, then the examples which are community owned resources. First is grazing grounds, burial grounds, village, ponds, public parks, picnic spots, then playground in urban areas. Children, these are all the resources which are accessible by all the people of all the groups in the community, because there is no restriction that these people can go to this public park, these people cannot go visit to this public park. So that's why this kind of resources are called community owned resources. Okay, I hope it is very much clear to you all, right? Now let's talk about the very important resources, which is national resources. Technically, all the resources which are belong to us, in real, it belongs to the nation. The country has all the legal powers to acquire even the private property for the public good. You might have seen some roads, canals, railways being constructed on the fields owned by some individuals. There are some authorities like urban development authorities. They get empowered by the government to acquire such land. The examples of the national resources are minerals, water resources, all the forest, wildlife, land within the political boundaries, and the very important, which is oceanic area, up to how much? 12 nautical miles, or you can say 22.2 kilometers from the coast, which is termed as territorial water, and resources therein belong to the nation. That means if I say that what is oceanic area, children, for this I have mentioned one map also. Just see, look into this map, you will understand that how much is the area covered under the oceanic area. Means it is 22.2 kilometers from the coast. What all the resources comes under this oceanic area belong to the nation. Okay, so in this manner national resources are being defined. Now let's talk about the fourth of type, which is international resources. To define this kind of resource, there are international institutions like IRP, means International Resource Panel, which regulates some resources. Their aim is to help the nations to use these natural resources sustainably without compromising economic growth and human needs. If I talk about the example, the oceanic resources beyond the 200 nautical miles of the exclusive economic zone belong to open ocean. So now children, understand that what is an exclusive economic zone. It is that area of the sea in which a sovereign state has special rights regarding the exploration and use of marine resources, including the energy production from the water and wind. So children, just see this map of our country, India. It is a traditionally maritime country with rich maritime heritage, and it also has an EEZ, means exclusive economic zone, of about 2.37 million square kilometers, wherein the country India enjoy the exclusive legal right to utilize all the living and non-living resources. I hope it is very much clear to you all. And just remember this, beyond this open oceanic area, no individual country can utilize these resources without the concurrence of international institutions. Okay children, I hope it is very much clear to you all. Now we will talk about the fourth category of resources, which is on the basis of the status of development. So the first is potential resources. Those resources which are found in a region but have not been utilized. Means resources are available in our region, but that resources have not been utilized by our people. That resources have not been utilized by us for our needs. Okay, so those resources are like wind energy, solar energy. If I talk about our country India, then the western parts of India, particularly Rajasthan and Gujarat, have enormous potential for the development of wind and solar energy. But so far these have not been developed properly. So these are called the potential resources. Now let's talk about the developed resources. developed resources can also be called as actual resources. Means those resources which are surveyed and their quality and quantity have been determined for utilization. The development of resources depends on what? Depends on technology first, and second on the level of their feasibility. Okay, so these resources which quality and quantity are known to us, these are called the actual resources. So you can write any example under this. Like if I say, we can write here some examples like metals. We can write about the water, availability of water. We can write some examples like oil, right? Natural gas, because their quantity and qualities have been determined for our utilization. Okay? Now let's talk about the third group, which is stock. Stock, materials in the environment which have the potential to satisfy human needs, but human beings do not have the appropriate technology to access these, are called the stock. Okay, there are two meanings of stock. You might have studied in economics that what are the stocks, what are the companies' stock, right? So that meaning doesn't apply here. Here the meaning is different. We are talking about all the resources, natural resources available to us, but we don't know that how to extract them, how to utilize those resources. That's why we call them stock. We don't have appropriate technology to access those stocks. Those resources are included under this category, stock. If I take one more example, then water. Water is a compound of two inflammable gases. One is hydrogen and another one is oxygen, which can be used as a rich source of energy. But we don't have the required technical know-how, which means technology, to use them for this purpose. Hence, it can be considered as stock. Like we can also write example of wind energy, solar energy. There are enormous wind and solar energy is available to our country, but still we don't have that much technology to utilize or harness all those available resources. That's why we take those resources under the category of stock. Now the fourth resources, which is reserves. Reserves, the name itself tells you that what does it mean. Reserves are the subset of the stock, means it is the part of the stock which can be put into use with the help of existing technical know-how, but their use has not been started. That here, in simple words, if I say, then resources is available to us. Even the technology is also available to extract them or to utilize those resources, okay? But their use has not been started. These can be used for meeting the future requirements, like river water can be used for generating hydroelectric power, but presently it is being utilized only to a limited extent, right? Some more examples of reserves can be like water in the dams, forests. These are all the reserves which can be used for meeting future requirements. Okay, children? I hope it is now very much clear to you all the types of resources. Now in my next video, we will discuss about the development of resources, which means how we can develop these available resources. So children, goodbye and take care.